tonight we're going to take the tour. Brad, if you don't mind, just kind of walk us through and guide us through your place, and Weldon and I will probably ask you a bunch of questions along the way.
Well, cool. I'm excited to have y'all out here. So, the brewery opened in April of 1996. So we're celebrating our 28th year this year, getting ready for our 30th anniversary in 26. We started on the town square. We were in a basement facility. It was about 1,100 square feet. Pretty small, 7-foot ceilings, no floor drains. Made it really challenging for making beer, but we spent 10 years working down there in that facility, and we purchased this property in 2002, and the only reason we were able to afford it was that it didn't have city water and city sewer services, and it made it much more affordable for us to buy. The first building we built was our shop, so we had a place to work on stuff. And then we came back and built the first building for the brewery, which was a 7,500 square foot pre-engineered metal building. And let's take a peek over here, look at it.
Now, was this planned originally to have this walkway?
It was not.
Because this is cool.
So we're like a mutt of a brewery. We didn't really have a plan, so we just kept building buildings on top of buildings.
Yeah.
But eventually, when we built the brew house, we thought it was a good idea to be able to connect the tap room to the brew house. So the lighter gray building is the 7,500 square foot original building that we built.
Yeah.
And that housed our brew house, the fermentation tanks, and all of our packaging, all in a single complex.
Nice.
As the brewery grew, we were outgrowing the capacity of our brew house. And we knew we had to put a new brew house in. And so in 2015, we started the planning and design for the new brew house, which is this building over here, the darker gray building.
Yeah.
And the new brew house took about 3 years to design, engineer, and construct. We had all the equipment made in Sion, Germany, on the Austrian border of Germany.
Yeah.
And then we had it all shipped overseas. And the tanks are so big in the brew house that the only way to get them in the building was to leave the roof off and set them through the roof and then put the roof back on.
Okay.
Because all the tanks in the brew house are all 2 stories tall.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we're going to go look at that.
I'm ready to see these tanks. They're 2 stories tall, man.
As we're looking at here, you got a lot of outside seating, and I'm assuming you guys are open at night, right?
We are, yes. We do live music out here on the weekends. We'll do all kinds of special events. When COVID hit, we did close down our upstairs tap room and decided we needed a outdoor experience for people to come and spend time with us. And so we built this area out in front of the brew house as our outdoor experience. We have an outdoor bar. It's got 21 beers on tap and 2 cocktail stations. We have outdoor restrooms. I know we'll talk about it more, but we were fortunate enough to harvest the original outdoor stage from Threadgills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take it apart board by board and reassemble it here in our beer garden. So all the musicians that have played on that stage are excited to come back and play on it again. So, there's a lot of progress in Austin. And when we heard Threadgills was closing, we just couldn't imagine that stage going into the dump.
Yeah. I did want to mention before we went in, this is quintessential Texas Hill Country right here.
Yeah.
It's part of the experience.
It's pretty good.
You brought up being out here, and part of what I was thinking is that, like, at night, like, if people haven't been here before, they don't know.
Sunset from this catwalk is dynamite. Yeah.
Are like unbelievable in this area, so.
And this is a pretty good view from the office.
Yeah. Not bad.
Imagine.
In 2010, the tank started getting bigger than the buildings.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't make economic sense to build bigger buildings. So these are part of what we call our outside tank farm. So these tanks are insulated and jacketed and cooled. So even though it might be 90 degrees out here right now, the beer inside those tanks could be as cold as 31 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
jump in and swim around. So in the new brew house, we decided to do 2 different construction methodologies. This is all block and steel. This is going to store all the malted barley we need for the brewing process. The specialty grains that are stored in the 55-pound sacks are going to provide unique flavors to the beers, where the bulk grain is going to be stored in grain silos that are on the other side of this wall. So we'll bring that grain in, we can add grain through these super sack stations, which is a 2,200 pound metric ton worth of grain in a nylon sack. We can get a single grain in there. We can get a blend of different grains in there. We'll feed it in. The grain's going to go up to a malt cleaner. Going to go down to the malt mill. We'll mill it. After it's been milled, it's going to get stored in this white tank over here, which is a grist case. And then when we're ready to start brewing with it, we'll transfer it out of the grist case and into a bucket elevator. And the bucket elevator will carry the grain to a traditional belt conveyor. And that belt conveyor will drive it into the brew house for us. We're going to drop it through the Aloysis system. The Aloysis system is a grain hydration system. It just ensures that the grain is pre-wetted before it drops down into the liquid. And it helps us to avoid developing dough balls because the dough balls will reduce our efficiency. So what we really want to do is make sure that all the grain that we mill up gets soaked in. And this tank's referred to as the mash tun. And in the mash tun, what we're going to be looking to do is combine the water and grain and then start the process of heating the water and grain mixture we refer to as mash.
Yes.
And by heating it, we will activate and denature enzymes that are naturally occurring in the grain that'll help us break down the long strings of carbohydrates or starches into simple sugars, because our main goal is to produce a sugar water base that we're going to feed to the yeast.
Gotcha.
The yeast is going to consume the sugar as a food source, and then they will produce ethyl alcohol, which is the booze that's in beer, as a byproduct, and the evolution of carbon dioxide as well. Believe it or not, there's a ton of chemistry and microbiology in what we do.
Yeah.
And, on site, we have 4 different operating quality labs that are constantly in motion, making sure that what we think is happening is actually happening. We built the whole company on 4 basic philosophies. It's quality, consistency, innovation, and value. So this is the second vessel in the brew house. This is called the lauter tun. And the lauter tun is the largest diameter tank. This tank is 17 feet in diameter and 2 stories tall.
Okay.
So all the tanks are sitting down on the ground floor. And think about the lauter tun as really just a fancy colander. It's going to take that grain and water mixture, the mash, and it's going to transfer it over to the lauter tun. And that grain and water mixture is going to sit on top of that false bottom.
Yep.
And we're going to be able to draw the liquid off, leaving the solids behind in the tank.
Okay.
And so it's a natural separation process for us. This is our boiling kettle. It's going to be a little warm to the touch.
And that's why it's warm in this room.
Yeah.
It's just all the
Yeah, I always joke with people while we're giving a tour. It's like, oh, the AC just went out, but we can't have AC in there. Yeah, there's too much heat going on in here. So the boiling kettle is where we're gonna start to introduce the hops. Hops that we add at the beginning of the boil. It's gonna add bittering components to the beer. Hops that we're gonna add at the end of the boil are gonna add aromatic qualities. So if you want it to smell good in the glass, you gotta add it really late. It's kind of like if you make pasta and you make a marinara sauce.
Yeah.
You don't add, your rosemary and Italian seasonings at the beginning. You add them right there at the end.
Yep.
And that's mainly because all those aromas are held in volatile oils. And if you add a volatile oil to something that's boiling, it volatilizes off, so it smells great outside, but doesn't smell good in your glass. All of these tanks are evacuated to the atmosphere through these stainless steel stacks. We invested in vapor condensing technology.
Okay.
So instead of taking this hot exhaust and wasting it into the atmosphere, we actually send the hot exhaust through a extremely large tube and shell heat exchanger, and we pump cold water into the bottom of the heat exchanger. We take the hot exhaust across the top, and we literally strip the heat out of the exhaust, and we put it into the water, and that creates all the hot water for our brewing process and all the hot water for the entire facility at 0 energy consumption. So all the hot water is generated from the waste heat of the kettle. This is a win-win for the environment, for us,
For the business,
in the hill
everybody.
country. There's no natural gas, right? Everything's propane, right? So everything that we heat out here gets heated by the consumption of LP or liquid
That's
propane.
probably one of the coolest ways I've seen to recycle.
Yeah.
That's neat.
At the end of the boiling process, we'll transfer it over to this last vessel in the brew house. This is a whirlpool tank. Woo, that's warm. We're trying to find natural ways to separate out the solids from the liquid. So we added a bunch of hops to the boiling kettle.
Yep.
We also boiled a lot of proteins out of solution, and they all coagulate.
Yep.
And we want to pull all that stuff out before we send it over to our heat exchanger to cool it down and to ferment it. And so the way that we're able to separate them out is a very natural process, which we're going to take advantage of the fact that centrifugal force will pull all the solid particles to the center. So we'll take the hot wort out of the boiling kettle, we'll pump it through a tangential angle to the tank, and we'll force the entire volume of liquid to spin around and around. And by spinning around and around, all those hops and all those proteins coagulate in the center of the tank, and then we have ports around the perimeter of the tank where we draw the liquid off, leaving the solids behind in the center.
And you can lose some weight in here too.
You can.
And this is the brewmaster's.
That's right. This is where the system is run. This system is fully automated, so we are monitoring it. We're making suggestions to the automation in order to make sure it gets produced the way we want it to. With our second core value being consistency, because we believe that is what really truly builds a brand. Is people wanting that same experience they had the first time they had that product. And so consistency is super important to us, and the way that we're able to do it is through automation. Does it take away from the craft of brewing? Absolutely not. It just ensures that everything happens
Consistent.
exactly the same time.
I'm gonna have the same Hans Pils wherever I go. It's gonna be perfect everywhere.
I hope that's your experience. And then here is kind of our R&D department. This is where we're able to get a little bit looser,
Have
get
some
a little
fun.
bit more adventurous with
Yep.
some of our brews. We did a saison with Korean chilies in it. We pilot all of our brands. The cool thing about this pilot system is it uses the same technology that we have in the main brew house. The only difference is it doesn't have the automation system. And so if we hit a home run on the pilot system, scaling it up to the main brew house is a lot more straightforward for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys have scalability with your beers now.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. To your point, it gives you the ability to test things out, and I'm sure you got some funny stories too about like how you guys have figured some of that out.
So every time we brew on this system, we start pretty early. We're usually up and running by 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And all of our brewers love these chocolate blueberry cake donuts from the local donut shop in town called Main Street. And the family that runs it, super nice. And one of our brewers was like, I want to make a porter and I want to throw donuts in it.
Okay.
And so we invited the family to come out. We got 3 dozen donuts, and we brewed a chocolate blueberry cake donut beer with the family and had it in the tap room. It turned out great. It was just a lot of fun. So, as we go through this, I mean, maybe there's an opportunity to do a Weldon wheat or something out there. So this orange balloon is another green initiative that we're working on. We are co-developing technology with a company called Earthly Lab out of Austin, where we are going to capture all the CO2 that is the byproduct of our fermentation. Instead of releasing it to the atmosphere, because it's CFC gas, it's not good for the environment. We're actually going to capture all that CO2 in this balloon. This balloon will get twice as big the size of a shipping container. We're going to fill that up with CO2 and then recompress it and clean it. And then we'll carbonate our beers with the CO2 that was a byproduct of our fermentation.
From the fermentation.
So by the end of this quarter, by the end of the year, we'll be completely independent of the petroleum industry for all of our CO2, and we'll reduce our carbon footprint by almost 30%. Okay, so we talked about the grain silos that were on the other side of the wall. Those are these grain silos here. We're actually getting a grain delivery right now.
Hey,
so
how about that? Perfect
we
timing.
pneumatically deliver the grain. So we pressurize the stainless steel tanker truck, and it blows the grain up into the silo for us.
That's
it's a real
pretty cool.
gentle way to carry it, because we can't really damage the grain in the process of delivering it to silo, nor in the milling process. So we have to very gently carry it. We consume a lot of resources. We want to make sure those resources are used responsibly through the whole process. Quality assurance is after it's been produced, does it meet our standard up to the expiration date on the beer? And we do that with a qualified team of sensory panelists. And everybody's like, oh man, that sounds like the best job ever. You sit around and drink beer. And it's like, no, it kind of is the worst job ever, because we ruin your ability to ever enjoy drinking beer again. Because we're going to teach you all the chemistry and all the microbiology that is involved in the development of off flavorings in beers.
Right.
And then we're going to teach you how to taste for it. And then we're going to teach you the nomenclature, how to talk about it, because we can't afford for anybody in this lab to say, it tastes okay. That doesn't mean anything to us.
Right.
They have to be very specific about what they're tasting. After you become a qualified panelist, we will bring you in to do sensory evaluation on beer that it's in process,
Yep.
and then also finished beer. We'll sample every beer that we make at least once a month for every month it's in date. So
Okay.
Hans Pils is good for 6 months. It's best before 6 months. So every batch of Hans Pils, we will sample a minimum of 7 times, once on the day of packaging, and then once every month up until it's expired. And that's how we set expiration dates, not by throwing a dart at the wall, but by using a trained group of panelists to use sensory analysis to determine the quality of the beer. So it's a full 360 process. We're constantly reevaluating and checking ourselves. So this whole building here is dedicated to sensory evaluation. Let me see if it,
Jeez.
I mean, poke our heads.
Are they
in.
locked in here? Are they?
They must stay in here for the 6 months.
You let them out.
I think it's locked up.
Who's locked up?
They're like, don't mess with him, Brad. The tank's right on the backside of this wall is part of our CIP system. That's an acronym for clean in place. So at the end of the week, the system actually will clean itself. The undersides of the tanks that we saw up top, the mash tun, lauter tun, boiling kettle, whirlpool, we'll see the bottom of those. Okay. The same automation system that we saw in the office is down here for us to interact with it. The hop dosers, and the 3 quality labs. We have quality lab 1. The analytical 1 is essentially a brewer's lab, because our quality team is not wild about a bunch of brewers running through their lab. Analytical 2 is going to be where most of the analytical work's going to be done. And then analytical 3 is going to be a lab that has a HEPA filtration system, so it's a pure air environment. And that's where we're going to build all our agar, which is the testing media we're going to use. And that's where we're going to do all of our testing also, so that environmental bacteria and molds are not impacting our testing, that we're just testing the actual beer. Okay. So
I love this beer even more now. It's even safer than any other beer.
And the Hans Pils Green for you
hey,
here.
There it is.
And this is the fermentation cellars. In here, what you're going to see is a lot of these cone bottom tanks. The cone bottom tanks we refer to as uni tanks, because the entire process happens in a single tank.
I'm guessing they all function very similarly.
They're all kind of the same.
And this could maybe have Fireman's 4, and maybe that one could have Devil's Backbone.
And then next week it can be flipped.
So, okay. So
it doesn't really matter. All the liquid in the vessel is going to be the same. It doesn't matter what the liquid is.
Oh, here's the distilling part.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not just a brewery.
that's right. We also make spirits. And you know, one thing that's really unique about what we do with our spirits is that we use our beers as the wash or the base for our spirits. So our whiskey is made from our Devil's Backbone, our Belgian triple, and our Scotch ale real heavy. We make a grain to glass gin from a Belgian wheat beer, and we make some interesting spirits. I was talking to Weldon about Totem, which is inspired by a Oaxacan mezcal, which includes an animal protein in the distillation process. It's referred to in Oaxaca as a pechuga, and pechuga in Spanish means breast. So typically it's a chicken breast or turkey breast. And the idea is not really to add animal flavor to the spirit, but yet to render the fat out of the protein and fat wash the spirit, which adds umami characteristics, mouthfeel, and body. So this is a hand-hammered alembic pot still. We had this custom made for us in Portugal. We oversized the onion on the still. The onion provides us what's called deflagging the spirit, or it's purifying the spirit. And what happens is, as we get to the vapor point of ethanol, which is around 172 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to start to separate the ethanol from the water, but there's going to be some water entrained in there. And as that spirit starts to rise up through that onion, it goes from a smaller diameter to a larger diameter of the onion, which forces the vapor along the sidewall of the onion. Because the sidewall is uninsulated, it actually will cool that vapor down and condense that spirit. And that spirit will actually roll back down in the onion and drop back down into the pot. And it has to re-vaporize each time, getting purer and purer until it gets up to what we refer to as our line arm. From the line arm, we'll transfer it over to our condenser. We're actually set up for that totem distillation right now. So we've actually filled the pot with the spirit. This has peaches and the chilies, rosemary, pecans, and we're gonna steep it for 72 hours. And then the day of distillation, we're gonna peel all that fruit. And we're actually gonna put the fruit up in a vapor infusion basket. Okay. And when the ethanol comes out, we're gonna use the ethanol as a solvent. And that solvent will strip all the oils out of all those fruits and carry them down into the condenser and into the final spirit. Yeah. That's right. So it gives you a lot more flavor. Tons of flavor. Yeah, okay. So all this equipment over here is all related to that CO2 project. So that CO2 is going to run along this pipe system.
That's where it's going.
Yep. You see the Earthly Labs cabinet there? Yep. That has 6 German CO2 compressors. We'll compress it to about 350 PSI and convert it back into a liquid. Then we're going to filter it through a filtration system. We'll test it. And then if it meets our testings, it'll go in this bulk CO2 storage tank for us to use at a later date. Wow. This is all packaging. So in here, we package glass. We do an 8.5 ounce, a 12 ounce, and a 22 ounce bottle. Okay. We do cans. We'll do a 12 ounce, a 16 ounce, or a 19.2 ounce can. And we'll fill kegs in this building as well. We do a 30 liter and a half barrel keg.
Oh, okay.
This half of the building here is dedicated to the glass line. The other half is dedicated to the can line.
So never that neat. When you guys are distributing out, like,
yep.
I know obviously you're all over Texas. Are you shipping out all over the country?
100% of our beer is sold in the Lone Star State. We don't sell a drop of beer outside of Texas. Okay. So we are the 3rd largest craft beer brewery in the state of Texas, behind Shiner, St. Arnold, and us. Okay. And then we're the 62nd largest craft brewer in the nation, even though we only sell our beer in 1 state.
Wow.
This is all canning. So when the glass line's running, the finished cases run on this elevated conveyor over here. They're gonna feed into this blue machine, which is a palletizer. Yeah. Palletizer is gonna orient the cases, stack them on top of a pallet. It'll send it to an automated wrapper. The wrapper will wrap the pallet and then discharge it to a forklift operator. On the can side, the same process happens for us in this machine over here. This is our can palletizer. And the can line runs a little slower, about 250 containers a minute. Okay. So about 10 cases a minute that come off of the can line.
What blows me away, like I wasn't ready for that much of this, you know? So
well, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot behind the scenes, a lot of chemistry, a lot of microbiology, a lot of engineering, a lot of science.
All right.
So up to the tasting room?
Yeah, let's go up to the tasting room.
Let's go to the tasting room.
So now we're in this room. So talk to us a little bit about what you guys are trying to or have created here and what you do within this space.
Cool. Yeah, this is our tap room. So this is open to the public Thursday through Sunday. We usually open around noon. You can come in, grab a beer or a cocktail, and you can hang out in the tap room. We also have an area where you can walk out on the catwalk and watch the packaging lines running. Oh, cool. So usually on Thursday and part of Friday, if we're running on Friday, it's kind of Laverne and Shirley style. So you can watch Oppenheimer Incorporated running the bottles around.
Well, so this is where people come in and consume the fruits of your hard labor.
That's right. Yeah. We'll have usually about 20 beers on tap, and then our cocktail list usually includes 6 to 8 cocktails that change seasonally.
Do you do private events here, anything like that?
We do. Yeah, we'll do rentals. We do corporate events. We'll have wedding parties. Birthday parties. So yeah, you can definitely reach out to us and see what we have available. It's a great space. We can put you in the brew house or places in between.
Well, before we head back out into the heat and look at the stage, I figured we could sit here and drink a couple beers and play a drinking game I got for you guys called This and or That. And
okay, I'm ready. I got a beer in hand.
We're ready.
All right, so here's how this works, guys. This game is called This and or That. And so we're going to put something on the screen. There's 2 choices, this one or that. And it's totally up to your preference. There's no wrong answers, maybe. But we'll kind of get going and see what you guys think.
All right.
All right.
We'll start with the easy one.
I'm a Longhorn with the UT. I'm not a big Maroon fan.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So as my son calls it, Texas ATM. So you're UT.
I've got a lot of good friends and people that I actually do some work for UT. So
okay.
Yeah.
So we're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
Let's see what that. We got a Longhorn here, so we can't even go down the other route. All right. This one's a little tougher. This one or that?
I'm a Buc-ee's fan. I mean, what an incredible story, and what they built. I mean, Loves are great, but they're kind of dirty truck drive stations, and they got showers and stuff, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. I mean, Buc-ee's in my heart, it started with clean restrooms and cheap ice.
Yeah.
And what a concept! Like, what else do you need from a gas station?
Yeah.
So.
And the bathrooms are they're suspect. They're so clean. I don't really understand how they do it.
They're quite clean. I mean,
it's crazy.
I'm in complete agreement. This and everything that he just said is exactly what I think and what I was going to say.
Same thing. Even the 4,000 or 5,000 calorie burritos are good.
It's a must stop on the road trips for me and my family.
Get your beaver nuggets on.
Get your beaver nuggets going.
We can't go past one. The kids are raising hell.
Oh yeah.
Hell.
Mine. I walk out of there. I've got a car. I have to pack another suitcase to get all the crap you buy when you're in there. All right. What's the next one we got here? Oh, here we go. Weldon. This one or that one?
You want me to start on this one?
Yeah, you're first on this one.
Oh, now this. Just because I do more of it than I do the other, I'm gonna have to say this one.
Okay.
And I'm batting. I do a lot of fishing here in Texas and Colorado, a lot of fly fishing. We support a lot of fly fishing community events. So grew up on the Gulf Coast, so I'm probably more on the that and then the this one. But
the fishing side. I think I'd say that and right now because my son's such a fisherman. My brother-in-law's an ace fisherman. So
I'll do most of the hunt for you guys.
I'm going to go hunting with you because that's one of the reasons I moved back.
Come on.
So
we'll do it.
We're going.
And I've never done a lot of bird hunting, though. I do have a bird hunting dog, Mr. Hans.
That's
There you go.
The one.
GSP.
The only.
Yep. So you got to get out and hunt with us. There you go. Now this one's in Austin. This one's a little tougher. Maybe if we're in Fort Worth, it'd be an easy choice.
I do them both.
I know. What do you go with, Weldon, when you're...
Well, I mean, in my current state.
You don't have an inflatable boot on there, so...
I'll do some, lately, I'll do some that, and it's summertime, baby.
It's summertime.
I'm that, and I'm more about foot comfort.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I am too at this age, yes.
I'm a 50-50 split too, but I'll tell you what, one of the things I love about Austin is you can wear a cowboy hat with flip-flops.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's the next one? Okay. This one has started a couple of fights.
This is so wrong. You have to do this to us.
I'll go first. I'm a that, and Aaron Franklin's been such a steward to the community, and has brought barbecue up a couple of levels. Terry Black's makes incredible barbecue. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Terry Black's, but Aaron Franklin's story of how he was cooking for his neighbors, his friends, and the love he gets out there. I'm a fanboy.
All right. What about you?
Another tough one. I've done events at both places. I know both the owners. I've been able to meet them, and they've been able to show me their pits. And I tell you what, both 100% Texas authentic
barbecue. Yeah.
Some of the best stuff you can get.
Yeah.
So
they're both state. Like I was telling somebody, when you come, if you're not from here, you literally have to go to both of them when you're in town. And
that's
then
a tough one.
It's a no-lose situation.
I might just go because it's Austin. I might go with that originally, in Austin first.
That's kind of everybody else has leaned a little bit, but it's not because of any other reason than like you
can't go wrong.
You got to find something. Nope, nothing wrong with either one of them. So go try them if you're out there or in the area. All right, so we're speaking more of your language here.
Mm-hmm.
But this was definitely one of my wife. This one was influenced by my wife. I won't tell you yet why.
Okay.
But, what do you got? Either any feeling towards either one of them?
I don't usually buy bottles based on their shape. I usually avoid bottles that have fancy design because usually
like the skull vodka.
Yeah, usually the liquid is not so good. So I don't know. I guess I'm doing this one.
All right.
I probably drink more tequila than I should if I'm not drinking my Homs pills or
Okay.
something real ale. If I'm drinking liquor, it's usually tequila. And I've had both, enjoyed both. I probably enjoyed this in a little bit more.
All right, we got a victory. Hands up from my wife who's here today.
I've been drinking a lot of Lalo too.
Oh, I've heard that's good
do
too.
like the Lalo. I can see your wife smiling.
She's a big tequila drinker, and this one wins because also because of McConaughey. So that's our choice there. So, all right, that was easy. We all agreed. I think that may be the first. Oh, here we go. Now we got some food going. So burgers or tacos?
Tacos. I mean, what a wonderful, very versatile media to be able to do a lot of things on, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So, I mean, there's some good burgers out there. We lost one of our best burger joints here in the Hill Country, the Alamo Springs Cafe, recently. I don't know if you ever made it.
No,
out
I never got to go.
Out in Alamo Springs, Texas. It was a damn shame. It was a top 50 Texas Monthly burger place. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. Tacos or burgers?
This one's easy for me. That and tacos. I mean, the versatility. I mean, just tacos themselves saved my butt so many times on the road somewhere, or just at home when I got make something quick. That's excellent. And just the amount of places you can go here in Texas and get phenomenal tacos is easy, simple, to the point. It's a no-brainer for me. That
and for me. So sub question.
Yeah.
Flour or corn?
If they're homemade corn.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with flour. I kind of like the mixed it now where
they're
doing some of that
50-50.
Yep. That's not bad. You corn or flour?
Flour.
You have flour? Okay.
I'm going to get a whole bunch in there.
Yeah, I have to go with corn. I can't even eat the flour anymore, but I'm still a corn guy. All right, what do we got next? Oh, this is your question first. These are hard for you today. These are not easy. I didn't do that on purpose, really, but now that I'm looking at them, I'm really like, I'm pressing.
This is a tough one for me because I play both on stage.
Yeah.
You come see me with the band. I have my acoustic and I have my electric, and I've got almost equal amount of songs I do on both. But I'm gonna say this in only because that's what I learned to play on. That's where I write my music, is on my acoustic guitar, and I think I can get more intimate vibes with acoustic, and I've done way more on acoustic, and I'm gonna go with this in.
All right, you got a preference there?
I like acoustic. I like I have so much technology at work. Like if I'm gonna sit around with a guitar, I like the acoustic. Not have to drag the amp from the cord around, have the cord buzzing at me and all that stuff. But both are fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with acoustic too. So this is unanimous on that. Oh, all right, 85 Ford truck or an 85 or 6. I think that's a Camaro. Any preference there? This or that?
It's simple for me. I mean, I own a few Ford trucks, and this in all the way, baby. Come on.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Dodge guy though, so I got a 91 first generation Dodge with the Cummins, so I'm a truck guy.
There we go. We're starting to get an agreement. We got anything left? How many more we got left on these? Oh, now this is Lake Country. We're in the Hill Country. You on horses or boats?
I don't own either, which is good.
Yeah.
I like renting both of them.
Yeah.
I'm probably more of a boat guy than I am a horse guy.
Boat. I love horses, but I'm on a boat far more often than I am a horse.
I don't own any. They both seem like a money pit. But I did grow up around horses. My grandpa was a horse trainer and owned horses, and we rode horses a bunch growing up and had to learn how to take care of them and stuff like that. I'd say this.
All right. Good deal. With a story. That's good. Got some sentimental value there. All right. Another toughie. I'll go first on this one.
All right.
So growing, I think I've told this before. I feel like it's Wranglers because growing up in Fort Worth, you had to wear Wranglers to be really in Western wear. Mm-hmm. Levi's weren't really considered that, even though they are now. But so I'm a Wrangler guy, I think. Even though half my closet's
full of Levi's.
Levi's and Wranglers.
I'm probably more to this than I don't know that I own a pair of Wranglers.
I probably own 30 pairs of Wranglers jeans and none Levi's. So
there you go. That Wrangler, the real cowboy singer over here. All right. These are good. We always throw a couple city ones in. So last time it was DFW. So it was Fort Worth versus Dallas. This time we've got Houston versus San Antonio.
Yeah.
This one or that one?
I was born in San Antonio and raised in Houston.
This is tough for you then.
This is
and I didn't
tough
even
for me.
know that. Look what we did.
And I live about 40 minutes from San Antonio. My mom and my brother are still in Houston. I like to visit Houston, but I wouldn't want to live there again. I love all the cosmopolitan things.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose between Austin or San Antonio, I'm always going to San Antonio. I love the culture, the people, the food.
Yeah.
I'm that.
Okay. That one.
I grew up in Houston. I was raised in the Houston area. But I got out of there as soon as I graduated high school. and I left, and I've had so much fun in San Antonio. Being up in the Austin area, we shoot down there all the time. My wife's family's from San Antonio.
Yeah.
Everything you said about the culture, the culinary arts, everything they have down there, it's amazing. The history, San Antonio, that and all the way.
That and all the way.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Fort Worth. We're not even allowed to say anything nice about Houston. So I'm going to go with San Antonio. Last but not least, the most important question of the day. This one or that one? Do you know who?
We got McConaughey on the left.
On the left.
And we got, who's that on the right?
We're 2 for 2. We've had this asked 2 times, and both times they were like, who's the guy on the right? That's Glenn Powell. It's the guy he's the new Austin dude. So he's a UT guy.
Okay.
So he's the Twister movie, and he was also in Top Gun Maverick. He's a new stud.
Okay.
So
okay.
they're both Austin guys, so you can't go wrong.
I don't know. I'm more into guys dancing naked around the fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Bongo playing.
Around the fire, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a McConaughey.
All right. I'm a McConaughey.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
Be a lot cooler if you did. All right. McConaughey.
Absolutely.
McConaughey.
It's just fun to see him on the sidelines of the UT games.
Well, we tie him into every episode. That's why we have Pantaloni's on there too, because we're trying like hell to get him on the show at some point in time.
No, he's cool.
But he's
he
also
goes back way. I know the guy, and the other guys is pretty neat too. But yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's McConaughey. So that's it, man.
There
you guys.
go.
Thanks for
That was
participating.
awesome. Yeah.
That's an awesome.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
fun
Yes,
little
sir.
segment to kind of find out more about what we all like, and some of those are really hard. So I think last but not least, right, we're gonna visit out to the stage
Let's
and
do
go
it.
see this amazing stage you set up that you're now going to be playing on here soon.
Coming up.
So we've got a date set up for him to come out and rock the crowd, right?
We do. It'll be the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
All right, well, let's go check it out and start, feeling it out for you.
Yeah.
All right, so hey, now we're outside. You've got this amazing outdoor beer garden, just venue for people to hang out in. So maybe kind of just walk us through like what all's out here and also like what are the plans with this thing? I know you've started to do shows here and doing some other stuff, but walk us through a little bit of your idea and vision for this place.
Sure. We have an outdoor bar here. We got 21 beers on tap and 2 cocktail stations. You can get all your bevies here. We have outdoor restrooms over here, outdoor fire pit in the fall and winter time, sit around, drink some whiskey, burn some oak. We have a little fire pit over here as well.
And then you got the stage.
And the historic Threadgill stage.
stage. So tell us,
This sat, at the corner of Barton Springs and Lamar for probably 16 years. I think it was built in the early 2000s. Threadgill's, I think, closed down their downtown operation in 2019. And we approached the property owner in 2020. It was probably one of the worst negotiations I had ever done because I never expected the guy to sell it to me. Yeah. And I called him and I said, hey, you want to sell the stage? He's like, what are you offering? I had never even thought what I would offer him. Right. But we probably paid too much for it, but it is such a historical part of the Austin music scene, and we just couldn't imagine that stage getting cut apart and put in a dumpster and going out to a landfill. So we cut it into 4 pieces, and then we rebuilt the stage and we put it all back together. It's all the original boards except for one. There's one new board that seams the roof back together, but other than that, it's the same exact boards that everybody has played on. I just know, spent a lot of time in Austin, how many great shows I saw on this stage. And the boards could talk. Yeah, the boards could talk, and the reality of it is we've been trying to reach out to a lot of the artists that have played on the stage and trying to get them to come out here and play on again. We just had Kevin Russell with Shiny Ribs out here for our anniversary party, and he was super excited to do it. And we're looking forward to having Weldon out here.
Yeah. Have you played on this stage before?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
a few times, absolutely.
So this will be like a homecoming.
Well, I guess it was an
nostalgic for you.
iconic thing there in Austin. You know, and the location was really important, and the fact that the amount of artists they had come through there, and just the names. I mean, you could probably sit here all day and talk about the shows you saw and the amount of people and the phenomenal artists that got to share that stage. So it's cool to see it out here and back in its original glory in the Texas Hill Country. Now.
There you go.
Texas Hill Country, and out here ready to rock some
Which is
new
like
shows.
perfect
Yeah.
for me.
I mean, thanks for having us out here. You know, this has been an overwhelmingly fun and cool and informative day for both of us. Thank you for.
Hey, I'm just glad to be a guest and to be here at a place that I probably think is my favorite brewery. I think, you know, before I got here, I think Real Ale Brewery already is a gold medal winner with me. But then to see everything that goes on and the passion that Brad and his whole staff has, it's actually a little inspirational, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it really is. The way you guys just drive home the quality, and then the usage, the resourcefulness of just how you reuse and don't waste anything up here. So it's inspiring, you know, and I hope the people are picking up on that, and they come find you when they're in town, or if they are in town and they hadn't found you already, they come out, and if they have been coming, they come more.
There we go.
So
I recommend it.
Yeah, highly recommend it. So thanks for watching the show this week. We've had a blast at Real Ale. Please give us a like and a subscribe and share with your friends, and we'll see you next time on the Cowboy Experience. Adios.